Hello, good evening, and welcome back to World Building Wednesday. I can see already in the chat that Shane is here. Hi, Shane! And I'm curious to see what the delay is like tonight, because I put it on low latency mode. Still kind of playing around with the settings in Twitch. So we'll see how late we can get the chat to go and get the delay down if we can. But anyway, welcome back to my great map experiment. What we did last time is we worked on a town, and let me explain the great map experiment if somebody's just watching this for the first time. So I made in Incarnate this gigantic world map, and within it I put 45 X's in places where I thought there would be a spot for an interesting location, either like some kind of encounter, some kind of like ancient ruins or historical site, or like a town or a city or a fort, things like that. And we are slowly going through each one of those X's, and we are replacing it with a location. So last time we worked on a little spot on an island that was kind of isolated all to itself. It was a great first stream. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. But we made Bog Shore, which is kind of like a D&D starter town. And let me just show you what it looks like now, because I don't know if you saw it before, but it was just kind of this weird mind map of buildings and everything. But I've gone in and I've cleaned it up and I've made it all pretty. So if you were here last time, you can see that we talked about like the trade, we talked about like the temple in the town, we talked about the leadership, we talked about a tavern, and I've just kind of drawn all of those out in a little better perspective and a little better detail. We've got our port over here with our little trade center, and we've got our haunted ship out here, our shipwreck in the swamp with let me zoom in so you can see the alligators. I'm proud of those. Mushrooms and alligators over there. So we talked about like a fish-faced pirate crew, but at some point I got tired of drawing, like my hands literally started getting crampy, so I just drew a ghost instead. But it is mentioned down below all of the information that we had talked about, as well as like the characters' names, all of the items that were available at the tavern. It talked about our hippo gator kind of cryptid creature. So if you want a copy of this, you can join the Nerdcrafty server, Discord server. I think there's a link to it somewhere in the panels down below. There should be. And then that's in the information about section of Twitch. Or you can click over to my coffee link, which is on stream right over here, and you can get it from there. Ghosts? Yes. Well, kind of ghosts. Cursed is what we talked about anyway. But if you notice, like in this handout that I made, I tried not to put any stats down because I kind of wanted to leave this more open. I figured that maybe not everybody is here for D&D. Maybe I've got like writers or people who are just trying to work out some kind of a story for a reason. So if you want to take this setting and like write a short story about it, I say go for it. I didn't put information in there that you didn't need to know. It's literally just like the town's lore and how it operates. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing today, except we're going to be doing it with ancient ruins. So the first thing that we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to pick a new location. We can stay on kind of the same continent we did last time, or we can venture to the northern continent, the western continent, or the southern continent. So I'm going to ask my chat if there's anywhere in particular they want to put these ancient ruins. And while you're thinking about what direction you want to go with the continent, I'm gonna go ahead and hop over to GIMP. Unfortunate name for a program nowadays. Southern continent, we got it. All right, popping back over. So let's go somewhere in the southern continent. So we've got like a jungle area. We've got more of like drier forest, temperate zones. We've got some mountain ranges. We've got like a little isolated sort of coastal region over here. And then this is like icy, cold, tundra-ish areas. Where do we kind of want to go to? Any one of those places could have ruins. I always love putting ruins in like a jungle because you can always have them be overgrown, and I think the aesthetic of that is really good. Oh, we're going tundras though. Alright, so we've got 3 locations that could go for tundra. We've got one to the west, one smack dab in the middle, and one on the eastern shore. The one on the eastern shore isn't quite as cold looking as some of these other ones though. This will be fun. Smack dab in the middle. Alright. That'll be a very interesting location to kind of figure out, because we're gonna have to figure out why there are ruins and what they're ruins of. And in order for ruins to be built, usually you need a civilization somewhere nearby at the very least. So we will figure that out as we go, because that is part of our process today. Alright, hopping back over to my my drawing program, whose unfortunate name I will not say again. I'm going to outline kind of the things that we need to figure out before we get started. So we need to figure out, like, what this culture was, who they were. Like, they're living out in the tundra, first of all. Watch my writing devolve as we go on. So they're from the tundra, which means they're used to dealing with cold. They're used to dealing with harsh environments and not being able to farm so much, probably. I don't know a lot of crops that grow in that cold of weather. At least not any real-world comparisons. We can make up whatever we want. This is a fantasy world. We also need a reason or a purpose for the ruins to be there. So, like, why did they build it? Mysterious unknown race. Okay. So, even though it's an unknown race, there are things that we can infer about them based on, like, things that are found in the archaeology of the site. So, we can determine, like, were they like hunter-gatherers, or were they like agricultural? Were they a trade society? Because those would all kind of show up in the artifact records. So we need to figure out the type of society. So we'll circle back to that. We need a reason why the ruins are there. Is it like a city? Is it a monument that they built? We need to figure out why it's abandoned, like why they're not there anymore. Or maybe it only appears abandoned, right? We'll talk about what the building materials were, if there are rooms to this structure, how many of them, and what are the notable features. Okay, so Shane says, I have the thought of a nearby civilization is in an oasis nearby. So there's not really any water on the map nearby there, but it's very likely that there could be some kind of underground water source. Because I tried to draw in, like, lakes and things where I wanted them to be in the map. I mean, I could always add in like a tiny dot of water if we're really feeling it. Okay. Shane wants me to hear him out. Okay, you type your argument. I'm gonna run through my list here too. So we need to figure out the notable features of if there are any rooms, or just of the ruins in general. And then we have to talk about what the actual current condition is, because ruins can mean a lot of things, right? It can mean totally overrun. It can mean like leveled to the ground and all you find are foundations. It can mean well preserved by a historical society. So these are the things that we'll figure out, and once we figure kind of the basics out, we'll map it. Okay, so Shane says, how about it was a highly advanced civilization wiped out from an unknown enemy, possibly themselves, and all that's left is some of the standing buildings. So, you're kind of thinking like futuristic society, but everything's kind of been so decrepit in its current state that it's hard to tell like how advanced the civilization was, or is it fairly obvious? So we're thinking of an advanced society. I have to rotate my writing pad or something, because that's an awful looking arrow. I'm also gonna take my brush size down. Alright, hard to figure out who or what happened. I like that it's who or what. So, so we have an advanced society. Unknown sickness and death. Okay, so the sickness is radiation poisoning. So maybe there was like, just for us to know, right? Because it's unknown within the world, but for us, the writers, to know. It's probably some kind of like Chernobyl situation, is what I'm guessing. Like some kind of reactor blew out, and that's what decimated everything. Which would be really good for our ruins, because we could have things like melted metal. And there are pockets of safety. Yeah, and we can, as far as like pockets of safety, we've established a magical world, so they can be like magically sustained, like areas that have been kept secret. One of the pockets is the oasis. Okay. I really wasn't trying to build like a whole town. Because I am planning on having several more like city-town streams in the future. I really wanted this to be kind of like an abandoned place for people to adventure in or explore. Really wasn't expecting them to find people. Yeah, so I feel like if there's pockets of safety, it has to be from like something that was left behind and is still sustaining that magic. But it would be abandoned. Can we agree on that? Does that sound good? Let's fill in some of these blanks here. Okay, cool. So it was destroyed by radiation. The building materials were probably like our modern materials, I'm guessing. Concrete, metal, glass. Most of which would not have survived. Most explorable area would be underground sections. Yeah. So these would be like basement areas of buildings. Maybe even like a failed fallout shelter kind of thing. That could be a lot of rooms. We're gonna have to like select a few areas and say that the rest are caved in. And then current condition is melted all to heck. We could have a lot of really interesting encounters with this kind of a setting. I don't know if you know a lot about Chernobyl, Shane, but like, have you heard of the elephant's foot? Because like it's apparently like still like really, really dangerous to be anywhere in proximity to the thing, but it's still like molten and melting and destroying things around it. Yeah, so we can have some really interesting encounters like that. Let's see. So, as far as like the reason why the ruins are there in the first place, we talked about it being a city at one point. Monsters that are either immune to poison or resistant. Well, I think we also have to figure out, before we get to monsters, is like how long it's been since this has happened. We can still have like the crazy amounts of radiation, but it's totally going to affect the wildlife depending on like if this is something that has happened recently, like within the last 20 years, or if it's something that's happened like 50, 60 years ago. Okay, so let me zoom out of here. We'll get full view of this. $10,000 years? Oh, that's a very long time. Trying to think of what that might look like for ruins that are that old, having been exposed to that much radiation. Because half-lives and everything, eventually it's gonna lower the amount of radiation. So we're getting into some complicated science here. Let's just start with like the top level. What you see on the surface. The source of the radiation is still on. See, there's still something, like, by saying that the source of the radiation is still on, there's still something that breaks a little bit in my brain. We'll circle back around to that. Let's talk about... If I keep going back to chat, Shane, like this, just to, like, keep hearing out your ideas, I'm never gonna get anything drawn. You're not gonna let me draw anything. A crashed spaceship? See, now we're jumping. So, last week we worked on something that was definitely within, like, at least a soft fantasy realm. And now we're getting into, like, some sci-fi stuff right away. I don't mind it being an advanced society, but, like, crashing from a spaceship? Anyway, I was trying to zoom in so that we can start drawing. Some space on this edge. And actually, that's too low down because we need to go underground. I just want to start getting something on paper, Shane. I hope you don't mind. And, I mean, semantics are semantics, and I totally understand that. It's my nickname that I gave to myself years and years ago. But, you know, there comes a point where we need to just move forward. Alright, so these are probably... if they're an advanced society, they can have pretty complex shapes for buildings. Depends on what kind of architects they had and how artistic they were. So do we want to go with like smooth looking buildings or like harsh looking buildings that had like hard corners and angles like skyscrapers? I'm just going to start drawing in some lines here. We can figure out if we want them to be curvy buildings at one point, or like domed or flat top, tiered. Just going to get some shapes down. And the buildings are probably going to be our entry points to get down into the lower levels, underneath the ground. Hey, Zach. How's it going? I didn't really give myself a whole lot of space, did I? Alright. Let's start those over, because those need to be smaller. If we're going to try and represent a whole city. So, Zach, if you're just joining us, we are working on some ruins. They're ancient ruins of an advanced society that collapsed due to some sort of radioactive event. So, maybe you could give me a hand here. Do you think that this advanced society would have very angular structures, or do you think they would have more smooth and curved structures for their architecture? Because I'm going to draw some buildings, and then we're going to melt them. I'll just draw a flat top for now. We can always change that later. Some look like they're off in the distance a little bit. Because it'd probably be pretty sprawling if they're advanced. Alright. We can come back to the buildings. I don't know if I've got like crazy lag or anything. Alright, and we'll draw some tunnels down. Maybe off of mostly the big ones. Because those are the buildings more likely to have basement levels. And I'm guessing we probably want some kind of like reactor structure. We'll start the structure here fairly far down. Do we like the smokestacky type of buildings, or do we like the kind that has the dome on the top? Because I've seen both kinds while driving around. There's two kinds of, like, nuclear facilities. Are you alive, chat? Is anyone there? It's okay. I'll just sit and listen to the music for a while.
How's it going?
Oh, hey, Zach. Good, how are you? Good to have you in voice.
Thank you, yeah. I got a little bit of free time. I tried Twitch, but it wasn't working as well, so I'll just be on the Discord watching the stream and talking to you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure if chat was working because things got a little bit quiet. Shane's been putting out a lot of ideas, and I'm just trying to keep everything balanced and everything, because things got... We got a little crazy for a little bit there and started going gigantic scope. This is something we're trying to get done in 2 hours.
Yeah, I usually have the big ideas and less of the details, so I'm happy to help in any way I can. Awesome. What do we got so far?
So we've got a city that is of an advanced society that has been destroyed by some kind of nuclear radiation event. So I started putting in some buildings, and we'll melt those eventually, but I wanted to kind of figure out some architecture for them first. And then we talked about some underground areas being the more interesting parts to explore. So I added a couple of like basement levels here, and I designated this particular building like a nuclear reactor sort of building, and just kind of drawing on some chambers here. So we'll figure out what goes into them in a little bit. But hey, any ideas on what kind of architecture they might have? Like angular skyscrapers, tiered, onion domes?
Whenever I'm thinking of architecture, I always think of the people that built the buildings and what their society is like, because that influences what they build.
Yeah.
So do we have anything for that yet?
No, and it's, not necessarily something we always have to go like deep into, especially since we're just trying to we'll figure out details about them later as we go and like build out locations. But we know that they're an advanced society, so architecture can be pretty much anything. We were kind of thinking in the realm of like concrete, steel, glass being available.
Okay. And they've been living in this kind of nuclear fallout for a while, or is that more recent?
So it's essentially a dead area. I didn't want to necessarily build another town because that's what we did last time on the stream. So I didn't want to make this about finding people and meeting a civilization. I wanted it to be kind of exploring what was left behind. So in that sense, we can be as cryptic about the civilization as we want to be.
Okay.
Did I completely break your brain? Because that's not at all how you're used to doing things.
A little bit, yeah. I just have different routes to the different mountaintops, but usually, everyone has their own way to get
Yeah.
to the same mountain. I also just got a text from someone who needs my attention right now. They're having a bad day, so I hate
Okay.
to do this to you, but I'm probably just gonna pop out.
All right. Well, it was good to have you for a little bit. I'll keep moving on this,
Yeah,
and maybe Shane will help me again.
yeah. I'm so sorry. I told you I usually struggle for the free time on
Yeah,
these
yeah.
nights, and lo and behold, here I
No,
go.
it's totally okay, man.
All right. Well, I'll pop back in if I get the chance.
Okay.
All right. Bye bye.
All right. Take it easy. If anyone else is watching that doesn't already know, Zach is our dungeon master for the Ironheart stream that happens every other Sunday. We just had one last weekend, so the next one isn't going to be until May 1st. If you are around, you should definitely check that out. And Shane, you should definitely be there because you're in it. I'm just gonna start drawing in some things because we can always change those later when I go and do the edit like I did for Bog Shore. And then maybe this one looks like... There are some weird looking buildings out there in the world. Alright, get rid of these extra lines, and then we can talk about what I drew chamber-wise underneath. I just blocked in some random ones. We can figure out what actually is there and isn't there. I can remove rooms, I can add them on. But for now, we're just trying to get some building shapes in. And then we'll go in and expose some of their inner structure and melt some things. Alright, so let's start with the big room. Alright, so we need to talk about some features. We've got, if we're going the nuclear route, we're going to have some kind of reactor room. And I feel like the big machinery is normally underground. So let's put in some kind of machine here. This will be behind some glass. Some really thick glass. There's like glass here. And then some kind of radioactive source here. Alright, and then this will be an elevator shaft. So we can build off of the elevator shaft. And then we've got a hallway down here. So this is kind of like the main observation room. They probably have like some kind of floating situation here where they can observe things behind like lead or whatever anti-radiation material they have. Put in some kind of like stairs to get up there. Make sure that looks like a window. Ooh, that line's weird. Okay. Alright, and then there's a door here going into another room. What other rooms would kind of be there? They'd need like some kind of communication room. So, let's actually make that longer. Oh, sideways map? Yeah, it's easier to draw, I think, for me anyway, it's easier to, like, map out things underground at first, by, let me zoom out, by kind of, like, building down the structure to kind of know where the levels are. And then, once I kind of understand what those are, we go back, I go back and I do the overhead map for, like, if you're dungeon delving. So I started working on kind of like a reactor core room sort of place. I put in like one of those observation rooms with the big thick glass and the lead. Because I figured like if they're advanced, they probably know not to be around the radiation for the most part. But I was going to also put on their communication room. Because I don't know a lot about nuclear reactors, as you could probably guess, since I don't work with them. And that's usually the people who do know what they do. But, I'll put in, like, in a communications room. Maybe they have, like, some computers down here that don't work anymore. Oh, those look like Among Us. They totally look like Among Us. It's not them, though, I promise. So this is our elevator. We might want some floors above the reactor. Because this is a lot of wasted space up here right now. I'm just trying to block in some stuff and then we can go into details. And I did put stuff on the other buildings, but I don't know if we need that. We might want to just build out this one area because it's kind of the most interesting part. Let me take away these other rooms. We don't need them. We don't need them. We have so much more space to play with. And I'm sure there's going to be like at least like a lobby area as well upstairs. That might still be somewhat they might have some kind of more substantial bits to them. I'm gonna put cracks in this building. Trying to figure out how I want to melt that down. Because I can use my smudge tool. Make sure that it's... Oh, that did not do what I thought it was going to do at all. That's not at all what I thought. Isn't there one where I can just smudge it around? That's not what that does? Oh, that's so weird. I hate that. Alright. Physically drawing it in, then. Ooh, yeah, spare parts. Let's see. Where would be a good place to keep spare parts? Probably fairly close to above. So maybe on like the next floor up from the reactor, because I wouldn't want to be without the part that I needed for the reactor. So I'll just, for brevity's sake, draw a little wrench on there. That doesn't really look much like a wrench. Oh, I'm getting closer. Get more detail that way. There's the handle of the wrench, and then the curve, and the square, or a hex. This one's square. There's a wrench. Alright, so let's make a note, spare parts. So like maintenance repair room. Man, if only the people of Bog Shore knew about this place. Let's see. There's probably offices somewhere as well. Let's put those fairly close to the top of the building. Because there's probably offices up here, but there's maybe some basement offices, a security checkpoint or something. That's actually an excellent point. They probably had a security checkpoint at one point. Draw a little badge here. Security check. Oh, too big. Check. Okay, so probably got a couple of floors here that we can play with. And then we'll... Actually, I'm not going to put anything on this level. I'm just going to draw something that looks somewhat like a wire going down so that we know that that connects to the top of the building. I don't think they'd want to build anything on top of that. At least if they're as smart as I'm assuming they are. Alright. And we can build off of these rooms as well and put things down here. So this is comms. Maybe I shouldn't have written that. Okay. Well, we'll just draw connections to it. Alright, so those are some major locations. I feel like if somebody wanted to do an objective for this location, there's some fairly clear locations where they can put things that they would want. Like the components that they need to build the MacGuffin or something. We could add in a few just for funsies locations as well. Like a break room, or I know at least here in America, if a building is of a certain size, it has to have like a rec room for activities. So people can get physical activity. Could add something like that. I mean, for all, like, we could add something completely ridiculous, like, like a daycare center. And that would probably be, well, if you need a security checkpoint to get down, that'd probably be up higher then. Yeah, and mostly it'd be the serious stuff, but we could, like, maybe add the remnants of a daycare. Plus, it's always, like, a really great story beat when you see, like, the broken kids' toys that have been destroyed by radiation, that, like, the pieces that managed to survive. Probably be some bathrooms. build the bathrooms off of here, though. So it's got like the little dude and the little lady that mean bathroom symbol. Bathroom. Okay. We still have 2 rooms we can play with, or we can leave those empty or caved in, destroyed to the point where they are inaccessible. But if we have any ideas, we can get back to them. For now, let's start kind of defining these areas. So, person comes in and actually, hold on, let me move this symbol because I just realized it's fine for it to be there, but not that low where I might want to draw things. Move it up higher. And maybe shrink it. Okay. So first floor, lobby. Might have remnants of that. This area above would be inaccessible. Upper floors. I don't care about spelling. That could be wrong. It looks wrong. Probably. But that's why it's just notes. Alright, so they go in a lobby. And let me zoom out a little bit. And then we can get rid of... Well, here, let's just shrink all of that. Because that's too big, too. Alright, there we go. Still want those notes. Just don't want them to take over the whole page. Okay, let's start with that lobby area. That'd be the first place that anyone going into this building, this ruined building, would see. Oh, that's too close up. So what kind of things are we going to make notable in the lobby? A lot of this is going to be kind of just deciding, like, what things survived. Because most things wouldn't survive a whole lot of melt temperature radiation. We'll bend some fantasy rules here. Right? We are talking about, like, having something that creates a pocket of safety, some kind of device. We should have that. Maybe that's a little bit lower. We'll add on to this elevator here. Maybe there's another room with some kind of generator that's also attached to that. And I'm just gonna draw a random shape in there right now. that way it's mostly the spaces underground that are not terrible to be in. Right. Safe zone. And I put safe in quotation marks because, you know, it's relative. You could still get injured not from radiation. Right. Enter the lobby. There's probably some kind of, like, front desk. There's probably some kind of, like, initial security scan, like something you'd need a key card to access, or like some kind of key, especially if it's going down. We'd have the elevator. And somewhere there would also be stairs. My inclination is to make the elevator broken. Oh, you're taking care of your baby? Aww. Understandable. I mean, of course, please take care of your child. I was just debating with myself, Shane, on whether this elevator should be operational at all. Like, if it's completely out of commission, or if it's something that maybe could be fixed with a little bit of work. Is it merely broken, or is it foobar? It can only go down. Oh. Needs to be fixed to go back up. Alright, yeah, I like that. That way they can get straight to the danger zone and they have to, like, work their way up to the spare parts. It really changes the way you would have to, like, think of exploring, and you wouldn't necessarily know that it can only go down. Down only. Ah! I am writing too fast for my tablet to keep up. Down only. And of course there would be stairs as well. Whatever's closest to an engineering check could figure it out. Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm trying to make it kind of like a more generic thing and just more describe the location. It'd be kind of up to the GM of whatever game you're playing in the setting to kind of assign those types of things. Yeah, possibly an Arcana check if you're playing D&D 5e or any form of D&D. And I mean, like, yeah, what is science if not magic that we understand? I've extended the elevator shaft to go down to our item of containment. Hi, Weston! How's it going? Let me know if you are curious about anything you are looking at. Hello, are you in chat with me?
Yes, hello.
Hi! It's good to have you. Zach popped on for a little bit too, but he had to go and handle some family stuff, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Glad I could join.
Glad you could be here. Shane has been helping. We have started the process of making ruins by making what would be a fine building first, and then going the way of destroying it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So, we've kind of come up with this idea of it was an advanced society where some kind of nuclear radioactive catastrophe happened that wiped everything out. But there are pockets of safety that are being like created by some kind of possibly magical object that's kind of holding back the levels of radiation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so right now I've kind of just drawn in a couple of floors underground here from our nuclear facility. And I was just working my way down. We started at the lobby, talking about some of the things that you might find in there. There'd be some kind of front desk, elevator, which is broken. Shane helped me decide that it only goes down until you go and fix it.
I like that.
Yeah, it
gives you something to do.
Yeah. Also, like, it makes things very complicated if you want to try and explore everywhere.
Right? No, I love that. It's like definitely like some Fallout or like Gurren Lagann kind of vibes.
Yeah. So yeah, I also put in that there's probably stairs somewhere because you would want the safety of that. Oh, you said radiation, but DM can change it to necrotic damage. All good? Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, the idea is, like, people can come in and flavor things how they want to if they want to take it into a game, or if, like, writers want to use this as, like, a setting for a story, or if people just want to make art of it. Like, it's kind of up to interpretation. I didn't want to make it, like, such a hard setting that you can't play with it.
Oh, totally.
So,
give you that kind of flexibility, the DM with some flexibility with it.
Absolutely. Like, I don't know if you saw what I did with the previous stream, but I just kind of wrote down the bullet points and, like, information. I didn't write down necessarily, like, stats of anything, or, like, the difficulties, or challenge ratings.
Yeah, totally. I love it. Yeah, and so what you're working on here is like this shelter. Are you already all the way through it, or you've just gotten to the point where the elevator shaft only goes down?
Yeah, so we kind of just started defining things happening, which I was kind of just like trying to imagine going through it. So like starting with the lobby, and then there's like a daycare area off of the lobby. So, like, what these places would kind of look like, if there's anything particularly interesting in those locations. If you can think of anything that might be interesting in the lobby aside from the front desk.
Is there, like, a medical station?
There's a security checkpoint that's on the first basement level here.
Okay, so that's for like decontamination and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, clearance, decom, I guess is just what it's called. I wanted to say decomp, and that is definitely not correct.
Different vibe, yeah.
Totally different vibe. If you're going there for decomp, something bad has already happened to you.
Yeah, or somebody you care about.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, not what you want.
Yeah, so, like, it'd be in this area. Maybe it's like, ooh. So maybe you get into the elevator, you go down to the security checkpoint. Maybe it's like you don't even, like, exit into there unless you work security. It just starts, like, spraying you with all of the decontamination, like, powders and fluids. So, like, immediate surprise upon descent.
Yeah, just sprays with hoses. I love it. Yeah. That it's time saving.
Yeah.
Time saving
Automatic.
measures, that's all.
Automatic, systematic, hydromatic.
You could call it grease lightning.
You could call it grease lightning.
I definitely, I would vote for it. Grease lightning is really the only fun song in all of Grease, so.
Yeah. It's also, apart from the one that they made up, I think, specifically for the movie, the only song that mentions grease at all.
It's a good point. The Bee Gees song at the very beginning.
Yeah, that wasn't in the original musical.
No, okay, that makes sense. They didn't have the Bee Gees just there playing that
No.
song.
I'm sure they would have loved to have the Bee Gees there playing the song, but I think the Bee Gees were busy.
Am I the only one who feels like they kind of got like you had had to fix your brain in the time-space continuum to figure out where Grease happened at a certain point in your life?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
It's like, wait, so this is just nostalgia, okay.
Yeah. At the beginning it was like, oh, this takes place in the 50s, and then I questioned nothing. And then I got into, like, costume history and started actually looking at, like, the colors and the things they were wearing. I'm like, oh, this is a fever dream.
Totally. Oh, man. Yeah. Sorry,
It's okay,
totally
we got sidetracked by decontamination. We're past, so we get that in the lobby. We do have that daycare area, but we can get back to that, because that's kind of like a little side room. And I just wanted to put in, like, some broken toys and things in there. Just because I always think that's a nice story beat to have. It's a good way to bring in, like, backgrounds, too, for characters if they're in the family way.
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of that, oh no, what happened to them? What happened to these kids?
Oh no, the children. Someone please think of the children.
Think of the children. Are the toys gonna be, like, way sick, though, or just totally broken?
I'm imagining probably the ones that survived probably don't necessarily do what they were supposed to do if it was anything fancy.
That's
Like,
fair.
maybe there's a doll that at one point talked or did something, but not anymore.
Oh, man.
Do we want
Yeah,
to...
I can already, like...
We can
I
work
can
on that
already, like,
daycare a
think
little
in my
bit.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's, like, a lot of little things that I think would, like, interfere with the idea that it's very open and kind of customizable, as you will. But, like, yeah, no, having, like, some kind of tie-in in that room would be fun. Like, you know, I keep thinking, like, oh, well, the doll ties into a quest, or, you know, you hold one of these things in your inventory for long enough and eventually you'll run into somebody who wanted it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Or you start to get radiation poisoning when you leave the area of safety.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
I hadn't even thought about that.
we at least know we have some broken toys in the daycare. So I'm at least putting that there. We can circle back to that because we also have like a couple of empty floors underneath the security check. I've got a couple here. And then we've got like a spare parts kind of engineering supply room.
Okay.
Let's see. So yeah, daycare, we got the security checkpoint where it wouldn't necessarily let you off unless you had could have a worship room. Like just for generalized non-denominational worship, or like are they worshiping the radioactive like powers? I like the idea. I think we just have to define like what it is that they hold in regard.
Yeah, it's like a multi-purpose like utility room, like classroom slash like function, like room that can hold functions like birthdays and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like,
The classic multi-purpose room.
yeah, you know, you live in a bunker and you need a communal room.
Mhm.
Everyone knows that vibe, right? We've all spent 10 or 15 years in a bunker.
It's basically
normal
the
human
cafeteria. It's the cafegimatorium, right?
Yeah, the cafegimatorium.
Cafegima. That's a G. Torium. The CGT.
Love it. Okay. And did you already... So I'm assuming that will have some kind of cooking ability attached to it or something? Maybe a little kitchen in the back or something?
Yeah. Actually, let me remove that arrow and I'll draw in like a little kitchen zone back there. At least like break room status.
Yeah.
Maybe some vending machines.
Perfect.
That's the kitchen. K. K is kitchen.
Kitchen.
Kitchen. Alright, so, if they got through to security, do you think there's anything interesting that would be in like, they might have confiscated things in security.
Oh, certainly. I mean, security typically is like, I don't know, whenever I'm playing through a game, if I find a room that was previously to security, I'm first looking for like any ammo or weapon items if that's like the play style of the game, or I'm assuming that there's some kind of collectible that's put in there. Maybe even just like, sometimes like a key card and an article of clothing or something.
So we might have weapons. They probably have some kind of item or article of clothing that combats the radiation. Sean says that they might have sleeping quarters. If it's like a nuclear center, I mean, afterwards there might have been sleeping quarters, but there might not have been any designed into it initially. Because I'm assuming these are all people who would like to go home to their families after working a long day.
I see. So it's a day job. It's not like you don't live there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I don't know a lot of people that will want to live above a nuclear reactor.
Yeah, for some reason I kept thinking of it like a bunker.
It's because it's very much underground, and because of the item that creates the safe zone, it might have been used as kind of like a safe place for a while. But I mean, like, eventually it's not gonna be livable anymore. You're gonna run out of supplies, you're gonna run out of resources. The bathrooms will stop working.
Yeah, that's why you don't need a full kitchen or anything. Yeah.
Unless you're gonna pull a Martian, then start making your own potatoes.
See how that could be another thing, like a little research room or something.
Oh, I need to throw that back on. That's from last week. Research room. So I did put like a communications room because they'd want to be able to talk, and then there's an observation deck if there is like an engineering experimental location. It's probably going to be off of where there are spare parts. I'm just going to draw like a little hallway going this way. So this is R&D.
And that's, they're growing like, you made me think like, because of the grown potatoes, I was like, yeah, no, maybe they would grow potatoes underground to see like what their radiation levels are once they're grown or something like that. I don't know.
Shane mentioned a pool room. I think that might fall into the cafegimatorium section. Like, they could have a pool table in there for sure.
I thought pool, like, go swimming. They have a swimming pool there.
It's got that floor that opens up, and there's a swimming pool underneath.
Yeah, for bring your kids to work day.
Yeah, they don't have to hang out in the daycare. Let them get decontaminated. Come on down to the lower levels.
Yeah. Perfect.
Come on, Jimmy. You're gonna have to learn how to do this someday anyway. And if the reactor goes off, we flush all the water from the pool to cool it down.
Yeah, no, honestly.
That's terrifying if you're just going for a swim and then suddenly all of the water drains out from underneath you.
You get like a 5-second warning.
Get out of the pool! I was thinking like shooting pool, but swimming pool sounds way more interesting. That probably would not be in the cafegimatorium if it's a swimming pool.
Yeah.
There would be a great supply of water somewhere up here, though. because they would have to have water to cool it down. This is not a cable, this is water now.
Wow,
Water. H2O. Okay, research and development. Right now, the only bathrooms I have are here. I feel like they're going to need some bathrooms on the cafeteria level. Let me just add bathrooms on. 'Cause
yeah.
this is by no means the finished map.
You have some hot chili in the Capagematorium. Certainly going to need a bathroom nearby. And if, you know, this is a reactor, I assume there's going to be at least a few workers on board, so, you know, more than one bathroom is probably for the best.
Yeah. Maybe it's like, because it's the Capagematorium, maybe it's one of those, like, combination, like, bath, shower, locker room type things. Or maybe that's the level below. It's like a locker room.
Yeah, I mean, you work all day in a reactor, and you might want to take a shower before you go home, yeah. Although I guess you would get decontaminated as well.
That's true.
Who doesn't like a shower, though? Although I've never once been at work and be like, you know, I want to stay another 15 to 20 minutes to take a shower now after my shift.
I've known people that do that.
That's fair. I mean, if you have access to it, maybe it's different.
I guess, you know, you're not paying the water bill at that point.
That's true. Shared showers are always I'm always a little wary.
We're gonna make that the cafeteria up there, and let's add in that rec room. Because I think it might, we talked about this being more like utility. So, rec room. Yeah, I really don't know how nuclear reactors work, so I don't know what other places we would need, but I feel like this is probably pretty good. And well, I only have 45 minutes left in the stream, so let's talk about some of the features here. Security, we already talked about some of the things that would go in there. They might have some weapons, they might have like access cards or keys. I'm gonna say keys because that can be either cards or not cards. Access keys. They might also have like some like safety protocol manuals.
Oh, I love a book.
My home group loves them too. Like I have one of my sorcerers. Anytime we're in a town, where's the library?
Oh, that's a thing I don't usually ask for, but then I usually am playing dumb people who hit hard at night.
Not necessarily the reading type.
But Pip would definitely be a reader. Sort of.
He could probably start asking where like the art galleries are.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think we're gonna find any at the moment, but that would I think there was a session a while ago we talked about, I think it was one of the sessions we were at Wakanga's mansion in Nyanzaru. Like, Pip looked around at the art there.
Oh yeah? Anything interesting?
I can't remember, it was so long ago. I don't think it was anything, like, of note other than, like, Pip was just admiring it.
Okay. That's, you know, appreciation is always good. It's the first step to, like, moving into something with more passion, right? You get to appreciate it first, and then you're like, okay, I'm into it now.
Yeah.
It's a multi-purpose room. So it probably... it might have like some kind of like magical or technological screen for like conference meeting type things. It's got a jumbotron.
Okay. Very, very advanced.
Yeah. So maybe like a big screen for meetings, and then if they want, they can watch a movie. They can watch The Batman on HBO. What might also be some interesting things? We talked about vending machines.
Yeah. In the cafeterium.
Yeah. So if we got vending machines, do you think that they are mostly liquids, or do you think they also have solid foods there? Because it could just be like, ooh, dispenses protein shakes.
Yeah, I mean, do you think anything in there will has it been too long for any of it to be eatable or edible?
If the people are gone, it's probably not good anymore, right? I would imagine.
I assume.
Unless there's Twinkies. Those will survive whatever.
Oh, they might give you radiation poisoning like everything else.
Yeah.
You know what? I always used to steal out of vending machines. When I was in high school, my arms were skinny enough.
Wow.
I could fit them up into the bottom shelf. There was this one vending machine at our high school that I would steal from almost on a, I think, daily basis. They kept the frosted honey buns on the bottom shelf, and I swear to God, that's all I ate for like a year in high school.
Wow. It's nice that they put something nice on the bottom shelf. Usually, the ones I've seen are just gum.
Yeah, no, there was no gum. Obviously, we were in a high school. Can't have kids having gum in a place you're not supposed to have gum. But it was like, yeah, it was a lot of weird breakfasty stuff, cookies. I think, God, I don't remember it. Like, it was way overpriced. You shouldn't have bought anything, so it was easy. It was nice. I didn't care. I didn't mind.
So let's say that they have, like, fairly modern stuff then. So they have, like, some like, snack items and some drinks. Snacks and drinks. Probably just like your standard fare, like salty snacks, sweet snacks, sugary carbonated drinks.
I love it.
And then some of them can give you like a chance of getting radiation poisoning. Percent chance. I wish my tablet could keep up with how fast I actually write. Percent chance. I'm gonna write it like Fallout. Rad plus. And then, would it be ironic to have a microwave?
Oh no, it's the perfect kind of irony.
Alright, microwave. And then
So,
apart
you
from
think-
that, like, probably basic furniture stuff.
What if they had another vending machine? Like, you know how sometimes you'll have a vending machine that's got like electronics in it and shit?
Oh, like
Like, here's a
chargers
phone
and things?
charger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what if they had one, because these guys probably these people probably worked really long hours in this reactor. What if they had one that was like, here's like, we got flowers for your wife, you know, on Valentine's Day when you forget to go get flowers beforehand. Here's like a teddy bear for your kid's birthday if you forget that too.
It's a Hallmark machine.
Hallmark machine. Yeah, perfect.
All right, gift machine. I'll stay away. Hallmark is a lovely thought, but I'm pretty sure it's trademarked.
Yeah. Mark Hall.
The vending machine's just called Uh-oh Gifts. Emergency gifts. Alright. I think that's probably pretty good for that Cafegimatorium lair. And then we have like a rec room kind of place, so that's gonna be like the place where we would have like a foosball table or like games or
The pool table.
exercise equipment. I'm writing down pool table. Fruitnut16 says hello. Hello, Fruitnut16. Welcome to the stream. We are working on building out some ruins from an advanced civilization that has fallen to some kind of radioactive activity that has driven them either to death or to running away from this area. So we were just putting in some locations. Maybe you can help us out. So we're kind of doing this rec room area for the workers that used to be in the nuclear facility. So they're gonna have a pool table. We've already decided. What other kind of activities would they have in their rec room, do you think? So pool table. And Weston, if you have more ideas, I will write those down too.
Yeah, I was just giving it a second. For our friend on the keyboard.
Yeah. Well, there's a slight delay in chat, so we'll get that in there too. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you want like a couple of general use like tables in case someone wants to play a card game or something.
Oh, okay. Card tables.
Yeah.
Card/mahjong tables. With my family, it was always mahjong tables.
I love it.
Card tables. Probably got like a shelf of games then too.
Yeah, I was gonna say like they probably have at least the standard chess, checkers, maybe
Connect
Monopoly,
4.
Connect 4, yeah. And then maybe like something a little bit more like I guess we have to come up with our own like in-world equivalents for these, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean like I guess the in-world equivalent for Monopoly could be like like
It's actually oligopoly.
yeah, oligopoly. Oh, that's a mouthful. Oligopoly.
It plays a little bit differently, but it's mostly the same.
Yeah.
We'd have some games, yeah. Trying to think. They might have like a treadmill in there, right? Some kind of exercise equipment. Like a treadmill or like one of those. What's the one that like? It's not stairs, but it's basically like sending you like your leg forward when your arm goes back. One of those things. Do you know what I'm talking about?
An elliptical.
An elliptical. That's the name of the machine. You can tell I do not go to the gym.
No, I only watch people who go to the gym on TV.
That's tiring enough.
I know. Yeah, I think an elliptical or something like that wouldn't be a bad idea. Although now I am back to thinking about a kiddie pool or a hot tub.
Ooh, a hot tub, a jacuzzi.
Imagine just getting into a jacuzzi with your coworkers at lunch.
It's right next to one of the card tables, so you can still play.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, perfect. It's got a card table in it,
You know what?
It's in
I'm
the
gonna write it
center.
down. I'm gonna write it down because it's quirky and it's fun. Hot tub. in that vein, maybe they have like a steam room also.
Oh yeah,
Steam
we've
would be
already
very
done
accessible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like, you know, you go to work, but you're actually going to the spa.
For like an hour, and then you work for 14. That's why you need
We're
the hot
family
tub.
here.
Alright, so let's see. Moving down the line, we've got our engineering supply room with spare parts. I feel like we don't probably need to do a lot there because it's kind of up to the GMs running the game whether they want to put like parts in there. I'm just gonna mark it with an asterisk because we talked about the elevator being broken, and this is probably where they need the item to repair the elevator.
Oh, yes.
That's an asterisk. Needs spare part. Fine, I will slow down my writing. Okay, and then attached to that is our research and development department. So this is where we can have our, like, weird experiments.
Yeah.
And I know that you were kind of like, you had the idea from, like, the Martian with him growing basically the shit potatoes.
These are radiation potatoes.
These are radiation potatoes.
Indeed.
These
yeah.
potatoes are rad.
Or maybe even have like, no, do you think they did any animal experiments?
Oh, that makes me sad, but they might have.
Alright, I'm gonna say they didn't.
They only tested on
The
vegetables.
workers were like, yeah, the workers were like, we're not doing any of that shit.
So what if they were experimenting on vegetables and somehow they managed to make like sentient vegetable creatures? So you just have like little carrot people running around.
Oh, I love a carrot man. A tomato person?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so there was this parody Animorphs that I read in middle school called Vegemorphs.
Oh my god.
There's only one. There's only one book, sadly. But yeah, it was amazing, and that's now what I'm thinking of.
See, I was thinking of an old, like, I think it was for Super Nintendo game that I used to have called Out to Lunch, and basically it was like you played a chef, and the story was like you opened the fridge but all of your vegetables were rotten, so you're going around with a frying pan trying to smack them and capture them and make them good again? That last part got a little confusing, but that was the premise of the game.
I love it.
Yeah, it's just all your angry little tomatoes stomping around and you hit it with a frying pan.
Adorable.
It was so funny. That game will stay with me forever in my brain. Rent-free. Alright, so we've got the sentient veggie experiments.
Hell yeah.
What other stuff could they be playing with? They could be making like new technologies.
Yeah, there's like a radiation phone.
A radiation.
Gives you extra radiation.
It's got all of the 17 G's.
Yeah. Yeah, like, you know how your phone produces a certain amount of radiation, but it's like within total tolerable levels?
Mm-hmm.
This is completely intolerable.
Yep. It will make your
That's
ears
the
bleed
idea.
immediately.
It's a feature, not a bug.
It sounds much more like a weapon than it does something helpful.
Well,
It could be something that's failed, though. Like...
Perspective's a hell of a thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be working.
Yeah.
I kind of like some kind of communication technology that makes your ears bleed.
Oh, yeah. didn't in the Riddler or in the Riddler in Batman Forever, didn't Jim Carrey's Riddler like have this weird microwave radiation technology? That's how he made every.
Yeah, he had they were like weird antenna that you put on top of your TV, and then he had like a thing with a suction cup that he stuck to his head, and it drew all of the energy from the TVs.
Right, yeah. Maybe they were working on something like that.
Yeah, maybe. Oh man. I just very distinctly remember that like plungering happening onto his forehead. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that movie again. It's like wonderfully bad.
It's a lot better than I would have given it credit for before my recent rewatch. It's definitely like I would almost recommend force yourself to get through at least 20 or 30 minutes of Batman and Robin, and then go back and watch Forever, and suddenly Forever is totally amazing. And I even watched it. Yeah, no, it definitely is. But I watched it right after I watched. I think it was. I can't remember. It was some other Batman-related property, and then, yeah, I really. I don't know. I enjoyed the movie for the first time ever.
I'm trying to think if there are any movies that I did not enjoy that I now enjoy. And the only things I can think of are like the Jane Austen stuff, because I didn't have the patience for it until recently.
Oh, okay.
I do want to try that Batman's challenge. You said just get through the first 20-30 minutes?
Yeah, you don't have to force yourself to watch the whole thing, because it's really the worst movie. Like, if I would put it in my top 5 least, like, maybe worst movies ever made. It's not, like, completely intolerable, I think, if you watch it, but its mediocrity and where it could have been really good is kind of what makes me so angry about it. And that it plays a lot of things safe that it could have had a lot of fun with, and just, like, I don't know. It fails to do anything it's trying to do. So I wouldn't recommend watching the entire thing. But
Okay.
if you can get through like 20-30 minutes of Batman and Robin, and then go back and watch Batman Forever. Batman Forever will look like friggin' Seven Samurai.
I will give that a try. I can do 20-30 minutes of a bad movie. I mean, honestly, like, getting through the first, 15 minutes of Swiss Army Man, I didn't think I could do that at first, but I did that, and I can get through any bad movie beginning now. I thought I was... there's just so much fart folly.
No, yeah, it's why I was immediately just like, okay, well, I love this movie, is because of the farts. Like, I love the farts so much that I am forever going to watch everything Daniels make, forever. It's like the whole movie was fabulous. I love Swiss Army Man. It's one of my favorite movies, but the farts meant something. They mean something. It's like a whole language in the film. Each of those farts is, I'm pretty sure most of them are real. I watched this whole featurette on like the Foley work for that movie.
They just recorded. I thought you, like, when you said they were real, I imagined poor Daniel Radcliffe having to just method act his way through this.
No, luckily no, but a lot of the farts were like, just like they would be hanging out, editing or working on this or working on that, and they would just be like, oh, I got a fart, and then record it. Just like, just capturing the realness of it. And then there's some that they added to, and some that a lot of them that they like did sound editing on to make them more this or that, make them the way they wanted them. But I don't know. It's just like, it's his superpower. Or part of the many superpowers that Swiss Army Man eventually gains.
I thought it was just a commentary on human decomposition.
Yeah, well, it is that too.
I wrote down AI programs. We're getting really off topic. I
Oh,
wrote
yeah,
down AI programs down here too, because maybe there's like a computer that can talk to them.
Oh. Mr. House?
Yeah, or, something to that effect.
Yeah, okay.
And, again, up to whoever is writing the story or running the game to decide whether it's like good robot, bad robot.
Oh, totally.
You could have a Hal on your hands. Okay, so I think 3 is good for R&D. We don't want to give too much to discover and get stuck in there. This is our reactor room. That's going to be fairly straightforward. Do you think there might be anything of note in there, though, since it's abandoned? I just imagine probably, like, paperwork tossed everywhere.
Couple raccoons.
Maybe it's just one raccoon with 2 heads.
Yeah, that's better. Something to throw an animal handling check at. Can this be my new best friend?
You see a two-headed raccoon. Roll initiative.
I would throw it on my arms and let it slay me. No raccoon. My death will be honorable. To die by your hand.
Oh, that's exciting. You'll be dying of radioactive rabies.
You never know if I might come back after that, you know? You might have to burn the body.
You just come back with the powers of a raccoon.
Aww. That's my favorite idea ever.
It's a superpower now. You have all the powers of a raccoon at your disposal.
Which are just being really cute.
And, like, washing their hands. They do that.
Yeah.
And,
Is
like,
it just possums, or do raccoons kind of have little thumbs too?
They have thumbs. They totally have thumbs.
Yeah,
That's what
it'd
makes
be
them
way
really
better
good
than being-
thieves.
Way better.
Should we put anything in the bathroom, or we just want that to be standard bathroom?
I can't remember how. Yeah, no. I mean, I feel like shower is probably more than they would actually want in there. So just, regular bathroom. Maybe some fancy soap. When you work like a big industrial job, they always got like fancy ass soap.
Fancy soap.
Like,
and they have
meant
like
to
the
take
bathroom
years of life off your
attendant.
hands. Wait, the bathroom attendant's still there?
Well, maybe the remains. They're
Or a
very
robot bathroom
attentive.
attendant.
Yeah, maybe it's a robot. Maybe it's just like a thing that's built into the wall that acts as an attendant. It's just got like fake arms and is holding a tray of stuff.
Oh, it'd be so weird. It like follows you around the room. It's like in the stall with you. Would you like me to help you wipe
Oh
that?
gosh. Activating bidet, and then it just sprays you.
Yeah.
So maybe, that could be interesting, like some kind of like attendant bot.
Just imagine it's like this, like, you know those robots in Star Wars that are just like in usually a solid wall or something, but they're like a little eyeball and they pop out on a big neck, kind of like.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. The ones that like R2 is always interacting with.
Yeah. I imagine it's like something like that, and there's just holes all over the bathroom where it like goes into the wall and pops out at another end.
Oh gosh.
Another end of the bathroom, and just kind of like follows you around the room.
This is a
Hopping in
horror
and out of the
setting.
wall.
This is definitely a horror setting now.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were going for.
Well, I just started off with mysterious. It turned into horror, and I'm okay with that. We got a couple of areas left, which is perfect, because we should just have enough time to wrap this up. We've got a comms room. So, communications. currently I've drawn in just like some random computery looking things. But I feel like if something terrible happened here, which it did, because we are making it happen, this is probably... I'm sorry, I totally missed something from Shane. He said, imagine the attendant follows you around and speaks, but doesn't speak any language that you know. Yes, that is exactly what happens.
Just sounded like a Jawa.
Yeah, it only speaks the ancient language. Language barrier. So yeah, if there's a comms room, I figured that's probably like where the records are kept for what happened.
Oh, totally.
Because it's also like one of the locations that's like near the bottom. So depending on how you're exploring it, you can either find out like pretty early on what happened and then go through and explore knowing, or like it's one of the last places you end up.
Right. Yeah, it's like, I just imagine walking into the comms room, there's like, all the computers are toast except for this one flickering in the middle of the room.
It's got that like dot matrix kind of text on it.
Oh, totally.
I'm gonna write that down. One computer still working.
This is gonna look real wild if it's in a fantasy setting.
Yeah.
Someone wants to run a fantasy game in this world and suddenly it's like, what is all of this?
Hey, it's not like it's never been done before.
No, I love it. It's one of my favorite types of fantasy.
From what I hear, that's kind of what Wheel of Time is getting into, probably with the next season.
Oh.
Event log. So that'll tell the tale of what happened. And I guess we should probably figure out what happened. Because we just keep saying, like, a nuclear catastrophe of some kind.
Oh. Well, I think Phil was on late night watch, and he, like, spent too long in the bathroom, and then the reactor melted down.
Phil was getting busy in the hot tub and was not attentive to his normal tasks.
Yeah. Phil brought his mistress to the workplace hot tub during the late night shift.
Oh, how can I put this so it's a little more vague so that people can play around with it? Late night shift. So.
Oh, it could just be an email. Like, you find someone's email, log in, and they just have, like, this message from, like, it's, like, titled Mysterious Stranger or something like that, you know? But it's, like, through the context of the adventure, you can kind of tell that that's what happened.
Like it was a virus? Like a computer virus did it?
Oh, no,
Or just the email is telling
how...
the story.
Like, the email is telling us that's why Phil got distracted. Or that the email is the distraction.
Oh, it's like Phil's correspondence with the person that let him leave his post.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I just put down event log, but I can tack on
perfect.
Letter. Letter to... Let's give it a weird spelling. Let's start with an F. H. I. L. L. Phil.
Perfect.
Why would we go with a boring normal spelling?
No, it wouldn't be right if we were to do that.
Shane wants it to be kind of more of like a mystery. So like there's no clear answer of what exactly happened, just possible things that players can find. I think we should, you know, as the thing is, like, as a writer, I'm always trying to think of like what actually happened and what is true versus what is being divulged to the people reading or playing the story. I like to know what actually happened and then, like, throw in all of those red herrings and other things around it that could have affected the circumstances. I like the idea of there being, like, several things that could have happened, but I think that's also one of the things that, like, a GM could expand on themselves. But, like, knowing how it happened, it's, you know, something has to make sense about it. But I like the idea that, like, it was a late shift, the reactor was left unattended. That's fairly easy. They aren't red herrings, they're all true. It wasn't one thing that happened, but several problems happened all at once. We have 15 minutes left in stream. The majority... Who H the majority of human tragedies come from? I mean, yes, we could start hashing out all of these moving pieces, but it is 15 minutes left, and we do have one more room to go through. So I feel like let's...
back to it.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to, like, do the series, like, one location, one stream. I didn't want to have to circle back. We still have, after this one, 43 more.
Oh, no, I mean, we could come back to, if we have time at the end of this stream, after the next room.
Yeah. But I think just, like, you know, just the, like, error of, like, leaving it alone to do what it wants, something wrong happened, and then the thing blew up. I feel like that's vague enough to allow for a lot of options.
Absolutely.
And then the last thing we need to do is this MacGuffin item that creates the safe zone.
Well, I came into this, like, thinking about current login, so I'm already like, it's a giant mech.
It's a giant mech that is suppressing all of the radiation?
Yeah.
Huh. Huh. I just am, like, because you said giant mech, I'm just imagining, like, it physically trying to stop the radiation.
just totally tanking all of the damage.
It's absorbing all of the radiation.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not a bad idea for an item. I don't know if a mech works particularly well, but I like the idea that it's absorbing the majority of the radiation, and that's how it makes it safe. The idea kind of came from Shane. Shane, if you're in chat, what do you think? Like, do you like the idea of it absorbing the radiation, or is it putting out an aura to suppress radiation? Because I like both. I mean, we could also, like, go, like, the physical states mode of figuring it out. Like, is it a solid, a liquid, a gas? I think, part of it is also, like, do we want to make this a magical item, or do we want to make this a technological item?
Well, yeah, like we were saying with radiation, necrotic, stuff can be swapped out if you really want a hard swap for your
That's true.
aesthetics.
Yeah. We gotta put something down, and, you know, GMs are always welcome to change what they want for their worlds. That's why I'm leaving it kind of loose.
I guess in fitting with the aesthetics of this location, technology would be more appropriate.
So it's some kind of tech. And it might have been, like, something that was experimental.
What if it's like, it's like some kind of, so you know how lead is typically like one of the things used to
block radiation, yeah.
Yeah. So what if it was like they had devised some kind of high performance lead like material, and that was what they had wrapped around the radiator, preventing it from harming it, or wrapping it around whatever to make that area safe.
So my question then would be, if they had that, why wouldn't they just be using it all the time anyway? Why would they wait until there was a disaster that happened to implement that? Like, I was thinking, like, this is a fail-safe item that they turned on because, like, shit hit the fan.
Yeah, I just keep thinking it's like water then. Like, water is the typical, like, but that's not very, like...
Ooh, okay, so what if we go with the lead idea, but it's like, it atomizes it into the air, and the air, like, absorbs the radiation. But then you're breathing lead air.
Yeah. Would it dissipate after, like, as long as, like, when... Yeah. Because, yeah, you could choose to make it have, like, dissipated in the past. You could end up running a game where it's like you have to have a mask to go down there, or you'll end up getting, like, severely murdered by lead in your lungs.
Yeah, super heavy metal poisoning.
Yeah. I guess the only concern there is everyone misses their perception check and you TPK your party with some lead in the air.
Well, that's a risk, right? There's always going to be those TPK situations.
I guess so, that's a good point.
Alright, so if it's a lead atomizer, if it's creating some kind of mist into the air, it's probably not going to look how I drew it, first of all. It's not going to be a shiny diamond. It's probably going to look more like a humidifier of some kind.
Yeah. Although I keep thinking of... I keep imagining them like the little green balls in The Rock.
The what?
The movie The Rock, starring Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery.
Okay, don't kill me, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's a Michael Bay movie. I would never care.
I would never presume.
Yeah.
I haven't seen The Rock, so I do not know the balls of green which you are speaking.
Yeah. It's inconsequential. Let me know if you ever watch The Rock, and then we can talk about it.
Okay.
No pressure.
So I drew like something that looks vaguely like a humidifier.
Yeah.
There's a plug
Peanut
for
butter.
it. PB is lead. That's the atomic symbol for lead.
So I'm just hungry, that's all.
That's fair. It's getting close to dinner time for me too. As far as, like, being able to create these safe places, since it's atomizing the lead, and the lead is in the air, we probably need it to go into a ventilation system. The place we wanted to get to the most is here, because that's where the reactor was.
Right.
But it's also going to need to get into other locations as well.
So it have a whole system, I imagine,
Yeah.
of shafts leading to each room.
Yeah, it'd have at least, like, some kind of shaft through the building, and, like, it probably honestly follows the elevator shaft would be the most sense.
Right?
Yeah, so there's vents there too. but also like a gigantic primary one going up to where the most radiation is.
Absolutely.
That
of course,
makes
of course.
sense. Okay. So I've got about 5 minutes left until I gotta wrap. We do have a little bit of time unless we want to, like, put any more information into the MacGuffin room.
I'm saying leave it open. You know, I think especially like the MacGuffin room is, you can do so much with it from a GM perspective that like how realized everything else is gives us even more, gives a GM even more kind of like fun headspace to imagine in for that one room.
Awesome. All right. Let me zoom out and let's take a look at everything and see if there's anything that doesn't make sense or if there's anything that we have forgotten to get to. Because otherwise we can circle back to the comms stuff or we can call it. We got our culture. It's the Advanced Society. The reason they built this was just to have a hub of civilization and be able
Source of
to
power.
research and develop technology. So, pursuit of science.
Yeah.
And then we know what the building materials are. They're gonna be like glass, metal, concrete. We've got all of our rooms. Oh, Shane's back. Shane's back for the last 4 minutes. Got here just in
Alright.
time, buddy. We're just seeing if there's anything else that needs to get written down. We've got our notable features. Current condition is pretty shitty and abandoned. And I'm assuming there's probably going to be some melted things. That might just be stuff that I'm going to have to draw in when I make the final handout for this one. But, I don't know. Weston, how do you feel about it?
I think this looks really solid. It's a lot of information. It's like a multi-level, like little dungeon. But you know, it gives the GM options to either fill it or just make it this big puzzle or mystery.
Oh, you know what? We do need one more thing. We gotta give this place a name.
Oh.
The Ruins of... Maybe Shane can hit us with a good name for it, since he just got back. And it really can be anything at this point. We know that it's located in the tundra. We know that it's, like, scientific more than magical.
Yeah. Ruins of the lost something or ancient something. That's like where my head keeps going.
I'm gonna zoom in just so I can write better. My handwriting gets atrocious as the night goes on.
That carpal tunnel, do you?
Shane just said, The Ruins of
The Ruins of is not a terrible.
It's not bad. Ruins of Catastrophe. Ruins of sounds like a Monty Python thing.
Yeah, but like I also feel like it's equally believable if you were just to put it in a modern like movie and spell it with 3 M's or something like that.
Shane has written down The Ruins of Catastrophe, pronounced with a silent E, so Catastroff.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
What if we just
Catastroff.
do... What if we do that? And we don't even need the E. And then it also
Or-
looks a little more generic-y. Like, more mysterious. Less direct.
Yeah.
Catastroff.
Y's
Oh, we
hanging
want a
off.
double F? We can do a double F. That's not a problem at all. I like it better with the double F.
Then it's like stroganoff.
Would you like a bowl of Catastroff?
Delicious.
Well, there we have it. Let me get the final zoom out, if I can get it to fit on the screen. Zoom. Fit window. It's still not good enough. Okay, here we go. There it is, the ruins of Catastroff in the icy tundra of the southern continent. And I will be putting this together, and next week we will take a look at the finished document before we get started on our next location. And I think we should maybe decide what type of location we're going to build. So we've done a town, and we've done a ruins. We could do like a military base or fort. We could do a castle. We could do, we could just do like a wilderness encounter. A good old-fashioned dungeon. You know what? I like that idea. Let's build a good old-fashioned dungeon next time. That is a great idea, Shane.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Weston, for hopping into voice chat with me and going through all of these crazy ideas with everybody. Thank you, chat,
My
for
pleasure.
participating. And I will see you all again next week.
All right. Thank you, Sam.
No
This has
problem.
been a blast.
Weston, is there anything, since you're here, anything that you wanted to shout out really quick or promote?
Oh, geez, yeah, we have all kinds of stuff going on at Nerdcrafty. Check us out at nerdcrafty.com. Hit us up at nerdcrafty. At nerdcrafty. What's our email?
I don't have an email for this one yet, but you can email me directly at samantha@nerdcrafty.com.
There you go.
We've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got TikTok, thanks to Weston. A YouTube channel that this is going to be on. Yeah, we're everywhere. Twitter, all of the places. And then, oh, this Sunday, coming up, Weston is going to be running You Awaken on our normal Sunday slot.
That's right. This Sunday, I'm running You Awaken. That's going to be a whole blast. Sam's going to be a player, as is our usual DM for the Ironheart, Zach. And I'm going to be bringing an old friend of mine and Zach's to come and play with us, and maybe we'll have another guest or two. But, yeah, it's going to be a blast. It's based on the book by Jacob Andrews of the Drawfee Channel. It's a really fun, improv-heavy TTRPG that requires no prep, and you can get the PDF of it for free through Drawfee's website or any number of other places. It's really fantastic and highly recommended if you have a bunch of funny friends who like to improvise.
And it's pretty much the opposite of this stream, because this stream is all prep.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
make
all
sure to
prep, no prep.
come back on Sunday and we will have a great time. And again, thank you for being here, and we will see you next week.